Welcome back, and it's a pleasure to bring in the Executive of the Year in Major League Baseball, the award presented by Sage, Matt Arnold of the Milwaukee Brewers. Way to go, Matt. Congratulations.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
You know, it's so neat to see guys like yourself. We talked to Zach Manassian yesterday, who you worked with in Milwaukee for a long time, with skin in the game with your team, and you spent a lot of time there with the Brewers before being handed the reins as the GM in 2023. You know, not only get the job, but win an award like this. Just give us your thoughts and tell us how you're feeling when you learned that you were the Executive of the Year.
Man, it was honestly like a little emotional and not expected at all. Just like super thankful. And I really had a really cool opportunity the other night in front of a big group to just thank a lot of people. We're all products of our environment along the way. And I've been so fortunate to work with incredible people, whether that was in Cincinnati or Texas or Tampa Bay for almost 10 years. And then, of course, here with all my great teammates in Milwaukee. So unbelievable support from our ownership here and just everybody. I feel like this is a major team award, and I'm just thankful to be part of a really incredible group here.
Yeah, it is. It's a labor of love, no doubt, doing that. So many hours you guys put in, those front offices, amazing. I want to ask you about hiring Pat Murphy to be the manager. What were those conversations, and how did you lead to staying with Murph?
Well, I mean, the fact that Murph and I had partnered together for a long time prior to him getting the job. And so it wasn't really an interview. It was just more of a conversation. And he and I had such a good relationship for so many years and picked each other's brains and then spent hours and hours together. So it wasn't really an interview. It was more just a conversation. What was important to him and what was important to us. And we were so aligned just because we've been on the same page for a lot of years. And we see the world very differently. And I think that's a really good thing. I mean, Murph challenges all of us to be great. I love how he tries to make us better every single day. There's no off days for this guy. And I think we're just so fortunate to partner with him.
You know, I've always said the most important relationship in any organization is general manager and manager, and how that drives the engine. Can you expound on that a little bit for me? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Harold. I think in the good situations that I've been a part of, you always have that relationship. And I think it extends beyond that, from ownership to the front office to the manager to the players to, we all we want to do is just support other people, at least from my role. And that's really important to me. And just having that kind of partnership, I very much believe in flat leadership, where we collaborate on everything. We're gonna disagree at times, but I want to make sure everybody's voice is heard, and I think that's really important to come up with good decisions, because I think it takes a village of good people to make those, and I'm just so fortunate to partner with Pat and a lot of really good people here.
We're going to get to your player roster in a moment, but since we're talking about coaches and managers here, I want to hit you on this, because I think your pitching coach, Chris Hook, is one of the best in the business, and he doesn't get as much run as he should. I'm sure you guys would like to get him a little more run because he deserves it, but there's something about having an asset like that as a hidden weapon and a secret that I'm sure you love as well. Talk about your relationship with Chris and what he does in your mind that's so special.
Hookie's great. I've known him for a very long time. He's been part of this organization for 17 years, and we just agreed to a long-term extension for him as well, and it's so deserved for him. And his family, Tony, and just his, he's just a class act. He cares about people, cares about players. He works his tail off. He's constantly trying to make these guys better, do whatever he can. And I just love how much energy he brings to the ballpark every single day, and just his ability to connect with players, with front office. Just there's so many ingredients involved in the game. And Hookie just does such an incredible job collaborating with all of us. I'm really fortunate to work with him.
Well, you could take that same dialogue that you just gave us, and I could change the person to Willy Adames, and it would be the same rap, right? And so I'll speak for all the cheesers, Matt. Is there a world where Willy Adames can stay in Milwaukee?
Yeah, look, he's obviously earned the right to explore free agency, and I think you guys all know how much we love and care about this guy. I was just talking to David Stearns this morning about, we had breakfast together here at the GM meetings, and one of our favorite moments together was acquiring Willy Adames. I mean, we were so fortunate to have this guy for so many years, and just a huge part of our franchise. And he knows we love him. He's going to, the market's going to determine ultimately where he ends up, and it's going to be up to him. But we care about him a ton here. And obviously would love to have him here as long as he wants to be here.
So Matt, one of the challenges in a market like Milwaukee is payroll, obviously. So I want to dive in and have you explain a little bit about Devin Williams, because some people are not really understanding how you cut the money back, work the deal. What's going on with that? Explain that to our viewers.
Yeah, so the option there we had from last year ultimately declined. So he goes back into the system there with arbitration. He's still a Brewer. We still believe he's the best, one of the best closers in the game. He's a tremendous asset for us. Cares a ton. Always posts, always available. Incredible stuff, and he's just been a warrior for us for so many years. So we had good conversations. I met with his agent yesterday. We have a great relationship. And Devin's a huge part of this franchise. And so it was just more about working through the process there with his contract. But again, thrilled to have Devin here as a staple in our bullpen.
We've also got to ask you about Jackson Churio. I mean, you guys take a leap of faith.
Yeah, nice job by that one.
Talent and ability, and man, is that looking like a great stroke of genius by you and your staff. This kid's almost too good to be true, Matt. Like 20 years old, smiling, contributing, adjusted to the breaking ball. What am I missing?
I don't think you're missing a lot. I mean, he's really cool, and just everything that he overcame at the start of last year. He got off to a slow start, as I think all expected. But he hung in there and he continued to compete. And by the end of the season, this guy was arguably our best player on the field, and just to have this guy around. And like you said, he's always smiling every single day and just brings such good energy to the ballpark. He's a joy to have around. I love him to death. I'm thrilled that we have Jackson Churio here for a very long time.
So last thing from me, obviously winter meetings, when you go to the winter meetings, you have all these kids running around looking for jobs. Here you are, the executive of the year. What is your advice to some youngsters right now that are watching that want to get into baseball operations, want to get into pro ball in the front office side? What would you advise them to do?
I mean, I'll tell you that I've been through that. I had to sleep on the floor in somebody's room at the winter meetings, to just get my foot in the door. And so I understand how hard that is. I've been that guy in the lobby, and you're just dying for anybody just to say hello to you. I try to pay that forward and do what I can to spend minutes with people downstairs if you have the time. I think that's important to just pass that forward. I would just say, put yourself in play. I think that's really important. Show that you can separate yourself from the rest of the group, because we get so many resumes and a lot of people want to work in this game, but you have to be able to separate yourself, what you can add to the team. It's not just about your resume. It's not just about where you went to school. It's about what you can add, how you add wins to the team, and how you separate yourself as a person, really. And so I totally empathize with that process. I've been through it. It's not fun. But if you can hang in there, good things can happen along the way.
Yeah, Matt and I are trying to sleep on the floor at the winter meetings just to get there. We're looking to do that.
That's not untrue. Matt, congratulations again on a richly deserved award. So great
awesome,
for you
man.
and for the Brewers, and thanks for taking some time with us.
Appreciate you guys.
Great stuff, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate
Arnold,
you.
Brewers, the Executive of the Year, presented by Sage.